Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of the Memories of Plymouth, New Hampshire. And I have to remind myself to say New Hampshire because, for those of you that may not know, there are more than 30. It appears the town of Plymouth is growing elsewhere across our country. So, welcome. It's a beautiful day outside, and we're delighted to be here. For the past 8 years, we've been asking folks to come in and just share their stories. And some of you were born here, grew up here, went to school, had businesses here, worked at a business, and it becomes very special. The town of Plymouth is our community, and things like this, we hope, will remind us how important a community is. We have a special guest today, and she's sitting next to me right now, so I'd like to say, Bonnie, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm going to ask you to share with our audience what your full name is, please.
Bonnie Lee Sears, but I was Sleeper.
Okay, so your maiden name was Sleeper.
Yes.
Where did you live when you were a child?
On Texas Hill Road.
And where do you live now?
I live on Steel Drive. It's just off from Fairgrounds Road.
Here we go. So you moved from here to there over the last so many decades.
Yeah, right. With a lot of places in between, of course. Like everybody.
All right, then. Let's see. Where were you born, the location?
I was born in the old hospital that's not even there anymore. But yeah,
right.
that was
Livermore.
It. That's the one, yeah.
My hand goes up, and many others will
Yeah.
do the same thing as that. So you've been in Plymouth for how many years?
Well, really, all my life, besides when I would, move away for whatever reason. But then I always came back. This is home.
This is home.
Yeah.
I've said that a lot, and a
Yeah.
lot of people
And I miss
have
my
shared
mountains if I'm not around them.
My hand goes up again. Unbelievable. How about Mom and Dad? Who were they, please?
My mother's maiden name was Whitehead, Alma Whitehead, and Dad was Louis Sleeper. And they owned Sleeper's Service down as you're going towards Ashland.
South.
Yeah,
South Main Street.
yeah, like where they've got their skating park now, and it was there, but it's been gone for years.
Years and years.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea when he started it?
I do not. I
Might
do
be
not.
interesting.
I know before that he had a garage up on, as you're going towards the school now, Highland Hill.
Highland Street, yeah.
Well, it was a little garage. He sold gas, and he did,
On the
it was a
left-hand
little,
side?
Yes, sold gas and had a little repair place.
Wow.
So yeah, and then he eventually bought this. And
I don't think that place that you just referenced, I don't think it's opened. I'm driving
no,
by and
no,
driving
it's
by.
not. It doesn't. They don't. I don't know what they use it for now, but
Okay,
it's
I
not
think
a
it's there.
garage anymore.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mom, you said?
She was a stay-at-home mom most of the
was.
time. Yeah.
So how many children did she have, Mom and Dad?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Can you share who they are?
Me, my sister Susan Clogston, that's her name now, and Sandy Shackelford, and Terry Smith.
It was like you were thinking about it. You had to think. They just didn't come like this.
No, I have to think about a lot of things these days.
Okay, whoops. I didn't mean to go there. I didn't mean to go there. Any of them live around here?
Terry does.
Terry does.
But the other 2 are one's in Florida, one's in Tennessee.
Far away. I wonder if they still call Plymouth home.
I don't know. I've never even asked them. I don't know.
So you went to school in the Plymouth area. And so your elementary school, would that have been Spear?
Yep.
And then we walked across the street to the middle school, junior high. And then the high school is the only building that is no longer there of the 3.
Yeah.
What memories do we have? I guess my question is, too, did you have a favorite teacher? And if it doesn't come to mind, it doesn't.
Well, the lower grades, I don't really even remember. I had one I was scared to death of. Well, that was Miss Spitzner. I mean, I didn't dislike her, but I wasn't about to do anything wrong.
My hand goes up too.
And in high school, Mr. Sanborn was a wonderful teacher. I really liked him. And Mrs. Van Vliet, who did the home economics, she was super. She was a very nice lady. And I can't remember. There was probably somebody else that just doesn't come to mind right now. But, Mrs. Hyde taught, because I took junior business, and she taught, I still remember everything she taught me about a checkbook, how to balance it, and how to write it out, and the whole deal.
Wow. See, that's
So-
one thing I've questioned over the years. is practical information.
They don't do it anymore.
I don't know if they do. I've always said they should be doing
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
You just referenced.
Yep.
Wow. Miss Bitzner and a few others that you have mentioned, they provided great structure,
Yes.
and I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Yeah.
And that's what some of the students would say to me at the college. I've never had teachers that are that structured. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I'm not sure. That kind of thing. If you had a favorite, who would you say at the top of your list for a teacher? That's hard.
Probably Mr. Sanborn. Yeah.
Yeah, and he taught a variety of history classes?
He did history and he did geography.
Yes. You're good. I should be writing this down as we're going on. All right, then. After high school, did you ever take a class someplace?
Yeah, I did. I took some kind of a business class down in Laconia. They had one at the high school where, you know, you would, it was like accounting, but then also was some, you know, typing.
Wow.
And I hated it.
Typing?
Typing would drive me crazy. I remember I'd try to go home and practice it, and you know how you look at something and you type it and you're not looking at, and I'd look at it afterwards, it looked like Chinese.
Okay.
I would get so upset with myself. So yeah, I'm not a typist.
I questioned typing when we were in high school. It was probably my first year that we took typing. I said, why? And at the end I said, thank you for forcing us, requiring us to take typing.
Yeah.
It just made everything else easier
Yes,
afterwards. Yeah.
yes.
That was wonderful. All right then. Let's chat a little bit, if we can, about memories related to any businesses you might have. Let's go back to the very first job you can remember.
My very first job was at my dad's garage. He'd have me come down in the summers to help him out, answer the phones, pump gas, change tires, do about anything he could possibly teach me to do. And do inventory, and you know, I'd send out bills, and I had to type that.
Wow.
I must have been going, I don't know.
One finger. Did you enjoy it?
No, because it was my summer vacation, and I wanted to be at the beach.
Oh, excuse me. We're going to edit this out or something like that. I mean, but I worked with my dad, and you worked with your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure that happens to an awful lot of.
No, it was probably good in some ways, but just, you know, when you're younger, you want to just be, you know.
Free.
Yeah.
Did you ever do Park and Rec?
No.
Okay. All right. Dad had you working.
Yeah.
That's where we go.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not sure if we should do something on Park and Rec because I'm not sure they have a program like that today.
I really don't know.
Kept us off the streets, even though we
Yeah.
were very young.
Well, working kept me off.
There we go. There we go. There's something to that. All right then. After your youth, you're now a teenager or you've left high school, you finished high school, what other businesses have you been involved with?
Well, let's see. The first one comes to mind is Polar Caves. I worked there.
Wow.
And a waitress at different places. And I can't remember. Oh, I worked at the college in the dining hall.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure there's a lot of other places. I worked in a factory at one point for a day and a half.
Is there a story with that?
No, it's just that was not my kind of work. No way.
You found out very
Yes.
very soon.
And I did go to beautician school for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you have a variety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one did you enjoy the most?
Of all the ones I just mentioned? Probably none of them.
Okay, we're going to go on to another. Did some of these jobs that you had, were they outside of the Plymouth area? Did you require transportation to get
Well,
here and there?
yes. At one point, I was working at the Holderness Inn. Remember when it was an inn and not not what it is now? Yeah. That was pretty good. There was a lot of, there were girls that came up from Massachusetts to work there.
Wow.
And they had a place in the back where they stayed. And my friend Barbara and I both worked at the Holderness Inn. I think Betty McCutcheon worked there too.
And what's the story on Betty McCutcheon? Should I show this?
Well, yeah, because when I first knew her, it was Betty's dance school that I went to probably from about the 3rd grade for many, many years.
Wow. And where was it held, the location?
She taught under in the basement of the Episcopal Church.
You are correct.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it was and that was fun. And that, I think that was, not that I was ever going to be a professional dancer, but it gives you a little coordination, and it gives you a little confidence in yourself.
So from what I understand, because I was involved for a few weeks,
Yeah.
all right, what was held at the end of each session?
We would have our recitals.
And that involved everybody?
Everybody.
All right.
Yeah. And she taught Plymouth. She taught in Plymouth, and she taught up to BB River also.
Wow.
And that's when, one of the names in there, Janice Piper was from up around there. Jerry Zwicker. Those two names I remember that came from that part. I don't, because I didn't take lessons up there. I took them in Plymouth, so the only time I saw them was like at a recital.
At a recital.
Yeah.
And as I go through this, I'm just dumbfounded at, I could probably come up with 24 names here.
A lot of them I don't know, but a lot of them I do.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely
know?
amazing, even though this one is, let's see, this was May 21st, 1959. The other one you have is 1958.
Yep.
And again, you can go through it and you can recognize the first names, many of us could, but I bet others could say, oh, they know everyone by their last name.
Yeah.
Because they were very common names way
Yeah.
back when. Should I share a couple of? Let's see, let's do this. Will I get in trouble for doing this?
No, I don't think so.
All right. We have Terry and Linda Lassard here. Janice French is here. Let's see. Lana Saunders is here. I'm only pulling out names that I can recognize right now. Let's see. Come on. Miss Betty McCutcheons is
Yep.
down there. This one I've never heard of, so give us a call if you would, please. Star and Carol Kocher. Is that how you? Star Draper and Carol Kocher. I'd love to meet them. I'd love to meet them if they were around. Virginia Boyle, as I said, the Lassads there. Jerry Zwicker, Francine Richardson, Brenda Downing, Brenda Whirlin. Oh my gosh, Janet did one there. So this must be our era, maybe.
Yes,
That's why
I would say
whoa.
so.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. How long did that last, do you think?
Oh, that was quite a while, because it seems like I remember taking lessons for years.
That's great. That's great. And again, it was right on the main street at the bottom basement of the Episcopal Church, which
Right.
is still, yeah.
And then
still
when
there.
she didn't do that, and it got smaller and smaller, she would give her lessons down in the basement of her house on River Street.
River Street.
Yeah.
All right. And that's in Holderness, just across the
Yeah.
bridge. Very good. Very good. So that was worthwhile.
Yeah.
Just to meet all those kids,
Oh,
working with all these people.
Oh my God, that was one of my fondest memories.
That's great. Where was the performance held?
It was held in the I call it the grade school gymnasium.
All right, so that's Spear
Yeah.
Building.
Okay. Yeah, that's where it was.
That's neat. That's really neat.
Yeah.
All right. Now the job that you had. Let's talk about it.
Which one?
Oh, which one?
Oh,
You were at the Polo Caves.
I was at the Polar Caves. Yes. And then after that, I got married and I moved to California, where I did not work, and I came home. It wasn't. I didn't stay there too awful long. And then after that, I really don't remember. I think there was probably a few different jobs. But then I went to work for the college.
All right.
And then after that is when I went to work for the New Hampshire Lottery.
Interesting. What was that all about?
Well, it's when they first started the daily numbers, and they didn't have the computerized stuff. So I would drive from here and do all the whatever up to Berlin, and then get it back down by a certain time to Concord, because they were doing the drawing. You couldn't be out there riding around with those tickets with the bet number on there. It had to be in.
So we didn't have
there.
the technology then that we have today.
No.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so, but that was good, because that gave me a job. I liked that job, you know. But you had to, it didn't matter if it was storming or not. You had to go pick up those bets.
Well, that brings up the subject of weather, maybe. We should talk, at some point, we should talk about the weather that we've had here during our lifetime. Seems to be changing. It really does
Oh,
seem to
really?
be changing. Yeah, I can do that. I can jump back and forth.
Well, the winters, I remember, were, oh my God, the snow was so deep, so deep. The plow would come, and then they'd have to use, it wasn't just the plow, but eventually they had to use some other machinery that plowed, but it had a wing on it, and to take that top, because they were losing room to,
Ooh.
plow. The banks were getting too big. It was grader. It was called a grader.
Greater. All right. I
And
just can remember looking outside the house, and this is not that long ago, maybe 50 years ago at the house, and I'm married now, and there'd be 2 feet of snow, and the next day we had another 2 feet, and we don't have any of that.
yeah,
It doesn't seem like we
no,
have.
no, we don't. And it's too bad because you know what? It hurts the ski areas. It hurts people that like to use the snow machines. And it also hurts us getting rid of ticks.
Why do you say that?
It
Teach
doesn't,
me.
well, I read an article on it because I got Lyme disease. So then, and the moose, that's why we're having a lot less moose because they're dying from Lyme disease. And we don't get cold enough down far enough to kill the ticks now. And so that we're having a big problem with them.
Is there anything we can do about it?
I wish. I really do. I mean, I just took my dog to the vet's and she had shots for Lyme disease. And I thought,
Oh my gosh.
how come they don't have that for people? I got that stinking Lyme disease and it was awful. I was a long time getting rid of it.
Wow, wow. I'll do some more studying on my part because I'm in the garden all the time. Gardens all the time. I love
Yeah,
it.
and I did not know I got bit. I didn't even see a bite or anything. It just,
I think we're hearing more and more on TV now than ever before, so it's got to be.
yeah,
as
I
you
just
said,
talked to
it's-
somebody else that they were treating her granddaughter for allergies. And she had all these pink blotches on her. And it was Lyme disease.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. Outside of all of the snow that we were talking about, think about the weather. What weather incidents can you recall? They've stayed with you after all these years for some reason.
Well, I know one, we get a lot of flooding. And a lot of it would be down on River Street. And I knew people on River Street, and it was like, okay, now they got to get out. And then my dad's garage was in the flood zone,
That's right.
and it would flood him out. And so I always remember about, it was just an awful time for, we don't have the floods like we did then. I think we'd, put more stuff up so to prevent it or something. But yeah, I remember floods, and you couldn't leave town. You couldn't go down if you were going to, say, go from Plymouth to Ashland. You wouldn't go because the whole road was flooded.
The same as Plymouth to Holderness.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. The
So-
people that have lived down there, that would be interesting to get a group of them together and
Yeah.
just talk about the floods that they went through.
Yeah,
Or anticipated them. Yeah.
my grandmother, when she lived on Foster Street, which is down by where the Common Man is, across the bridge,
Very good.
years and years ago, they had that terrible flood there, and they had to get out. It was bad, and I don't think it's flooded there for ages.
I don't think so. I mean, we worried enough times about it, but I
Yeah.
think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has changed a little bit. So we've had floods during our time. We've had a bounty of snow during our time, yours and mine. What if I said to you fires? What comes to mind? And this could be a residential building, it could be a business, it could be,
I don't really remember. I mean, I should have remembered a lot of different fires because my dad was in the volunteer fire department for years, and I remember you'd hear that. Remember that horn that used to go off at the fire department? Beep, beep. You could hear it from miles, and it was like, oh my God! And then I'd hear my father jumping around, running downstairs, and going, to the fire. And he was with the fire department for years. Later, he became fire chief, and you think I would have remembered, quite a few fires, but
I'm just trying to think, was it always a volunteer fire department?
a lot of
For
it was.
most of the
A lot
people?
of it was. Yes, it was.
Is that the way it is today, do you know?
I don't really know.
We should bring a fire chief in, if we can find one that's
Yes,
retired, so they can chat
yes.
a little bit.
Right.
How has the department changed over time? That might be interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
Wow. So Dad was pretty busy. He had his own
Oh,
business.
oh God, yes. He was always working, doing one thing or another. So yeah.
Let's move on to some more weather, because I'm going to bring one up and see if we can jump to another
Okay.
one. I can remember the Congregational Church burning on Main Street.
That's right.
Yep.
It did.
Yeah, 1983,
Yeah.
1984, something like that.
Yeah.
And I just cried.
Yeah.
Just cried. Just because it was my.
I don't know why I didn't remember that.
Well,
84, 85. Oh, I think I lived in New Jersey then.
that's why. That's
Okay.
why. Yeah. If I brought my uncle in, and Uncle will be 100 in a couple more months, he would have said the Methodist church that was on the main street And I have to share with the people there where that would have been. It would have been facing Fraser's Diner. It would have been immediately to the left, very, very
Really?
large.
Huh.
Yeah.
I
so
don't
it's
even
in-
remember that
yeah,
church.
Yeah, so that was in the 30s. That was huge.
Yeah, wow.
And the way the story came about, what happened, it was very innocent. You would have had somebody at that time that they would have a stove within their business. They would have taken the coals out, brought it down to the end.
Right.
That's fine, right? But a few of them sparked, and that started it, according to
Oh,
one
yeah.
version.
Yeah.
So that was really
It
sad.
does, sometimes it just didn't take that much.
Yeah. I mean, we've had fires. You've had them at Volpe's over the
Right.
years. But those were the two big ones, different decades.
Hmm.
Methodist Church and then the
I think a lot of it
Congregational
was wood stoves used to cause a lot of those fires,
There you
and chimney fires would do it. So, yeah.
Church. Yeah. Let's see what else can we talk about. How about fairs? I went to the Plymouth Fair. Did you ever go to the
Oh my
Plymouth
God,
Fair?
we wouldn't miss it. Us kids looked forward to that like crazy. I mean, and compare it to all these different parks now that they've got, it's like nothing. But we thought it was the best thing there ever was. And so we'd go just one day. Dad would bring us up, and he was usually working something up there, And Mom, we usually could find her in the bingo tent. And she'd give us X amount of dollars, not a lot, because we didn't have a lot. And then we'd run like crazy to whatever ride.
Rides.
When that money was gone, it was like we knew where to find her, right in that bingo tent. And she probably thought, oh my God, here they are.
Both parents.
Money.
I remember going up on Sundays, and believe it or not, we had to get dressed up. It was Sunday.
Oh.
Can you imagine getting dressed up in your nice clothing
Oh.
and having to walk? That's right. No way, Mom and Dad. No way. But once I grew up, it never happened again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was a sad day when the whoever decided no longer to have.
I know.
the
I guess
fair there.
after a while it didn't pay off or something. I don't know what it was, but it was really good. And as a kid, because I love those rides, the meaner the ride was, the more I liked it. And now I don't. Last time I tried going on one of those rides at the fair was the whip, which I used to love. I thought, when is this going to be over? I said, oh God, I can't
Change
do
over the
this.
decades.
Yes, and I said, oh well, there goes that fun.
Yeah, I think it was sad when they decided no longer that they could move forward.
Yeah.
But it was there for years, and it
Yeah.
was a thrill. And if I end up going to another one, if we go to Sandwich Fair for a day or elsewhere for a day, we still have our memories of Plymouth and what it was like.
Right. And the only trouble is now, any of the fairs you go to, they're really nice. They're so crowded you can't hardly stop to see anything because it's too crowded.
It'd be fun to do maybe have a session with somebody that looked at the fairs at Plymouth or the surrounding areas. How they started. And
Yeah.
as you said, how they.
I
why
think
we
it was
lost
like
them.
more of an agricultural thing to begin with, don't you think? I'm
That's what
thinking.
they used to say it. Plymouth was the largest agricultural
Yep.
fair in the state of New
Yep.
Hampshire. Very good, very good. Yeah, and as the years went, the rides came
Yeah.
or the amusements came, and maybe the agricultural part went down. But I think that's the thrill that we had. We go to Sandwich Fair. We like to look at the cows.
We love to go see,
Oh,
always
gosh.
see the animals. You can't leave without looking at the horses and the sheep and you name it.
Must be because it takes us back a little bit.
I
Maybe our
don't
parents or
know.
grandparents have shared stories with us.
I don't know, but it's
Yeah, that's fun. Thank you for doing that. During your lifetime, have you had any special events, your family now coming together? It could have been, you could have had the birth of someone, birthdays, someone has passed away, just a special event to get reunions of your families and friends. I can broaden it, and friends. Yeah.
I don't remember having many family reunions. And the reunions now, of course, that I enjoy is the high school reunions when you can see everybody again.
Who's still there?
Yes, and
Yeah.
other than that,
great.
I really don't
Who
think of anything.
organizes your high school reunion? I mean, is there one person? You don't have to mention a name, but,
Okay, well,
or you could mention a name.
usually Bonnie Courier and Ronnie Chason
There we go.
and Mary Ellen Davis
Okay.
usually has something to do with it. And
How often? Do you remember the last one you went to? Is it 5 years, 10
well,
years?
we've gotten to 5 years, but I don't remember if it's been 5 years since the last one. But because there's so many people that just pass away.
That's right. We know that.
You know?
We did an evaluation at the end of ours. It was a simple written one. And one of the questions was, when would you like to meet again? Next year, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
And you've got to remember that some of these folks are living across the country.
Yes, they are.
But it takes them back. They come back home, and they haven't seen some of their friends for how long?
Yeah. And besides, just to see the town where you grew up.
That's right. Walk the main street.
Yeah.
Where you lived.
Yeah.
You've got it.
Yeah.
It's still a thrill there, that's for sure. Major changes in town. I asked that question of everybody. Over the decades that we've lived here, what changes have you seen?
Well, the one that I really think of every time I go by it is where the Plymouth Inn used to be. And it's like, oh, how? That was a big, beautiful place. And how did it ever fit there? That, I really do. And I loved the theater. I mean, I like the Flying Monkey, but I loved it. That's where we all went to see the movies and everything, Disney and whatever. And that was sad to see that go too.
Yeah, that's special. The Plymouth Inn was owned by the Carpenter family?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
So there's a few of them still around.
Yeah.
Still around. Yeah. And I'm trying to think, the stairs, if you look where we know it is still, some of the stairs are still visible.
Are they?
As it goes, absolutely, as it goes from the main street up to Russell Street. You'd walk this way. Yeah, this way.
And that would be a good shortcut if you were up on one of the streets.
Yes.
You'd
We
be
went
right
to the
there.
theater. If we went
Yeah.
to the theater and we were living up there on Russell or Pleasant Street, whatever, we'd go straight down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Concrete. Guess concrete?
Yeah, it
is
was. It was.
There we go. That was fun, but just barely visible. In a way, I want to say, let's put up a sign so people know there were stairways way back
Yeah.
when.
Oh, there were a lot of different stairways back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even where Heel's Garage used to be, there was a road there
Wow.
that, you used to be able to drive down. I think it was a little sketchy in the winter, but it was pretty steep.
All right. Most people will tell me that the Tenny Mountain is the huge difference from decades
Oh,
ago.
definitely. I didn't even think of that, but
didn't.
yeah.
We're
but
out there all the time.
that was so, because that's where my younger sister learned to ski. That's where my kids learned to ski. I'm so glad they've got it open again. I wish them all the luck in the world.
Same.
I just say to everybody, I don't know why you don't go to Tenny to ski. It's not as crowded.
It's a wonderful area to ski. I really like some of their straightaways, but I love the back little pathways that we would have. Yep. I wish them well as the same.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if other places like that, from one owner to the other, I wonder if they'll try to make somehow, not just a ski area from what they have, but how can they make it year-round?
Well, I know this fall I took a ride up the lift to see the foliage, so that's one thing, but that's not year-round. And at one time I took my grandkids up there. The ski area wasn't open or anything, but they did have a zip line up there.
Wow,
So
they're
I
trying.
took the kids. They don't have the zip line now, but I took the kids and we did the zip line. But I don't know if what they would, year-round. It's just,
I know. No, but skiing is so unpredictable now. You don't.
I
know
know
if it's
that's
going
the
to
trouble
have
with the
an early
snow.
Start.
Yeah, they've put new snowmakers in, from what I understand, to try to keep up with it. And the other one that I miss to this day is J.J. Newberry's.
On the main street of Plymouth.
I loved that store. You could almost find anything there.
Upstairs, downstairs.
Yes, I loved it.
I did too. And it was also one of the first memories because you could go in and have something to eat there.
Well, you go from the school, walk down, have lunch for hardly anything.
That was a quickie. When the school was close, not where it is now.
Oh
People-
gosh, no, it was
It was walking distance.
yeah, like where the college and everything is now.
I'm guessing, I'll put you on the spot, we'll pass. How long did we have for lunch way back when? 30 minutes or was it more?
I almost think it was less, but I thought it was 30 minutes, and it would take us like probably 5 to get there, and probably 5 to get back. So we didn't have long, but we just wanted to be out somewhere different. And a lot of kids went, either J.J. Newberry's or the diner, or even Volpe's store. They had a little kitchenette, a little dining area in
Oh,
there.
you had Geyer's. We had a lot of drugstores that had that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's do that. We have Geyers,
Yeah. Balpies.
Farley's,
Farley's.
Balpies if you want to. I'm thinking
Yeah.
of pharmacies in
There was another
York's,
one.
York's on the corner over here of Main Street and Highland Street, right on the corner, by the bank today, by the Pemmy Jawassa Bank. I have to think.
Yeah, I know.
There were so many, like
Yeah.
4 drugstores.
Yeah.
There was a few before our time as well, but they've come, they
Yeah.
went away. Yeah, that was fun. Thank
Yeah.
you for doing that one.
Okay.
All right, let's see what happens. People in the town, during your decades here, was there someone, and you can pass, was there someone that was special to you, that affected you in some way, that may have taught you something? That time maybe you didn't realize what you were learning from the folks.
Well, I know that, I learned a lot, of course, from my dad, my mother, and my grandparents. But I learned, let's see. Well, Betty McCutcheon was a big part of my life because of the dance lessons.
There we go, dance lessons.
Yep, that was a big part of my life. And as I got older and was out of school and worked, that was another job I forgot about. I worked for the Head Start program. And I drove the bus, and sometimes I'd be working in the classroom. And Virginia Dunn was the one that ran that. And she was just so nice. She was so nice to me. And of course, I had gotten married and left school and didn't get my high school diploma. And she said to me, she says, at the high school, she said, they're doing a program where you can get your GED. And Bonnie, you really need to get that. She,
Wow.
And so I thought, she knows what she's talking about. So I did. I went up and got my GED.
Wow.
And that made a big difference in my life, of course. So yeah, she was one, and Betty, and God, there's probably somebody else I can't even think of.
But they were wise.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And I was older then, so I'd listen.
There we go.
Yeah, yep.
Sometimes time can take its toll, but sometimes it's beneficial for us too.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Good one, good one. I have down here celebrations. Do you remember the 1963 celebration of the town of Plymouth? Our last one was 2013. So the first one I just mentioned, and it can go farther back than that would have been the 200th birthday of Plymouth, but then the one I just mentioned, that would have been the 250th birthday. We won't have another big one for a while.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So.
Well, the things like that I remember is like all the little kids used to love it, but this was when the fire department would, for different things, they'd foam that whole main street up. They had something on the fire, and it was just foam. Like, I don't know, soapy foam, but it's high. The kids would go in it.
Oh my gosh.
And they loved it. They had a ball.
Oh, that's great.
And that just stands out to me. I thought, wow, that's something.
I remember all the parades from way back when.
Oh, I do too, because my
Actually,
dad was always in
There we
them.
go. There we go.
Yeah,
See
he
the
was
fireman?
No, he was the commander of the Legion for many, many years.
Boy, he had many hats.
Yes, and it was him and Danny Berg that stands out to me. That they always made sure there was a good, decent parade. And since all these older people that were in the Legion and running everything, since they've passed away, it's all gone. Even the Legion isn't the Legion anymore. It's
Has another name.
oh yeah. Come on, brain, kick in.
It'll come. It'll come. I always tell everyone that.
Yeah, it's Ladders. Ladders is what
There
it
we
is
go.
now. They bought them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Danny Berg. He associated with Royal Eagles. Mr. Haskell.
Yep,
Oh
yep,
my
that
gosh,
too. Yep.
oh my gosh,
My
that's a
sisters were
story.
in that.
My sister was in that as well.
I don't think they have anything like that now, do they?
I'm just saying, we were so unusual. This little tiny town of Plymouth ended up with 2, 3. One started out, and all of a sudden, I don't think it made it as long as the Royal Eagles, but Danny Berg and Mr. Haskell, isn't that funny? I have
Yeah.
to remember his first name. That'll come too.
Yeah.
But I was so impressed with these people that had hundreds of students, and they provided structure for these
Yes.
kids. And we were doing a special event within the last decade or more, and I think I was talking about Mr. Haskell, and I got interrupted by the audience. The students that were his students way back when wanted to share their story.
Yes,
and it was
yes.
more important they share it than me.
Yeah.
But for him to do that for so many decades for the kids of Plymouth, and what they learned
Yeah,
from that
yeah.
opportunity was pretty impressive.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Very good.
Why do I still call these people by Mr. as opposed to their first name? I was taught
That's the
that.
way we were brought up.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
That's right. Let's, a person in your family, and we can pass, but was there a person in your family that influenced you? You've shared about a few other people in town. They were your mentors. But was one person that maybe mom or dad said something to you over the years?
Oh, definitely would be, well, my mother and my dad. I was quite young, and I was talking about all my friends to my mother. And she said, she says, you know, if you have one good friend in this world, you really got something. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have all kinds of friends. As I get older, it was like, oh yeah, now I get it. And my dad was always what he said, well, I won't put it in his words, but he said, before you open your mouth, make sure you get all the facts before you make a fool of yourself.
Whoa.
And I was like, you know,
Wise.
that's a good idea.
How many people of us, we've said something and we kind of regretted it?
Yeah, I know.
Thank
I
you,
know.
Dad. Thank you,
yeah,
Dad.
exactly.
Yeah, you got it. Because it can cause more harm than.
Yes, right. Because you don't know if you're not right there. Whatever happened, or it's kind of hard to tell the story. Because things get switched.
Well, we have to say to our parents out there, then thank you very much.
Yes.
Those of us that have
Yes,
some with us.
definitely.
I'm going to get a little crazy, and let's see. Do you have memories of foods in town? Think of the restaurants we used to have had on the main street, beyond the main street, back streets possibly. Were there certain foods that you can remember? Now, you mentioned Newberry's. Was there anything special at Newberry's?
Well, the go-to thing was always hamburgers and French fries.
Okay.
I mean, that was it. I always liked that. And then I know in the summers, remember they had that Teacher's Clam Bar?
Absolutely.
They had the best onion rings there.
Help me, Mr. Zulius.
And I don't remember who else ran it. And I think a
Mr.
lot of
Ryan.
students worked
Mr.
there.
Ryan.
Yeah.
That was a
okay.
twosome. Mr. Zulius, our principal, Mr. Ryan. And I think you are correct, students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for years and years.
But I've never had any onion rings since then that were that good.
Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine what they cost us too.
Oh, yeah, right.
Fun one. Fun one. Do you have a best friend?
Oh, I have a very best friend, Barbara Plume.
Yes.
We were friends from junior high. She lives in Kansas now and has for many, many years. But before we both got kind of old and we don't like to travel, she'd come up here one year to see me, then I'd fly out there the next year to see her, and back and forth like that.
Beautiful.
And we go out, we talk to each other at least twice a week. We both, it's just, I could tell her anything. I could confide in her, that's what my mother was talking about when you get one true friend. And then I do have another really good friend, and her name is Becky Vittum, and she lives in town. So we can, get to see each other.
Yeah.
But, as you get older, you don't go any place or do anything like you used to. So it's like, we still keep in touch and everything. In fact, we're going to the Flying Monkey this Saturday. So, yeah.
You came in the Historical Society within the last year, the two of you together. I don't know if it was a presentation, what we were doing or not.
I don't know, because we've been there before together.
Yeah.
to
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the last time I
Yeah.
saw the two of you together. Nice. That's a good one. When you were a child, kid, teenager, whatever, was there a hangout? I use that term loosely. Was there a hangout that you wanted to go to, that you found yourself quite often going to?
Well, I know on Saturdays, if they had a canteen down at the auditorium down there, we'd go to that. Other than that,
That's a good
I'm
one.
not sure. We used to hang out at each other's houses.
But
you know.
that was a safe place. If you loved to dance, move.
Yeah.
You met your friends
Yeah.
there. Good music. Most of the time, it seemed to be records, but I think
They had bands because that was that band that. Oh Lord, what was the name of it? You know the name of it.
Well, I'm trying to think of Leslie Philbrook.
Yes.
Denny Day.
Yes.
Help me, come on. Was Roger Close there then? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But they went for a long time, did they not? David, I'm going to have to need some help on that one. Started it. Oh my gosh. I have to do my
Yeah.
historical stuff,
Yeah.
I think, a little bit better. You are right. They had a handful of bands in this town that were started.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. But again, it was something to look forward to
Yeah.
on a Saturday. I don't know why we don't do something like that again.
They don't have anything like that I know of. Every once in a while, I remember my grandkids saying something about a dance at school.
Okay,
But it
nice.
isn't like a regular Saturday night thing.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can pass on this one, but do you know of people within your family that served our military over time?
Well, my dad was in World War II.
There we go.
He was stationed in Trinidad.
Wow.
And of course, all of my uncles were in the service, and maybe not World War II, but Vietnam, there was a lot of them, that were over there. And yeah, different, Korean War and all these different,
It's
yeah.
always the men that we talk about, and I know there's just a very few women, but they did serve. It
Yes,
would be
they
fun
did.
If we could
They
find
did.
one in the area.
Yeah, I
their
know.
perceptions of what it was like being a minority
Yeah,
at that time.
yeah, really.
Wow. Huh, fun. Let's see. Industries, we've talked about restaurants, but what industries, companies, stores on the main street have come and gone? You could remember way back when. What was there? You've mentioned one already. You said Newberry's.
Mm-hmm.
We did the pharmacies that were there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gone now.
There used to be Blake's Restaurant years ago.
Right
My-
next to Volpe's.
Yeah,
Very good.
because my mother, when she was just out of high school, she worked there.
There. Wow.
So,
And that was upstairs?
yeah,
Because they did both at one time.
Yeah.
Huh.
and there was different. There was wasn't there a Walker's Dress Shop?
Yes, there was.
Yes,
It was, let's see, we've got Anderson's Bakery. So,
Anderson's.
okay.
Oh, that was a wonderful bakery.
It sure was. We'd love to have them come back. They're
Yes.
listening to us.
Yes.
I interviewed both of them, and that brought back wonderful memories. But next to Anderson's, there was a road that led us down to the station. But if you didn't go down, you just went next door. Mrs. Walker's was close to that.
Yeah,
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 that was wonderful.
yeah. And they had down back there. They had like a grain store because I used to get stuff for my rabbit to eat, and and then there was where the Lucky Dog is.
Yes.
There was a really nice dress shop there too, clothing's
Mm-hmm.
place, and I
So-
can't remember it.
We had sleepers for women's. We had sleepers for men's. But oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go back to my chart.
Yeah, but I remember going in there and I could find some nice,
Clothing there.
nice. Yeah,
We were very fortunate at that time because a lot of us did not have cars. And
yeah.
you shopped on the main street.
Yeah,
You
oh,
couldn't
yeah,
get out to
definitely.
West Plymouth if that
Well,
was
there wasn't that much out there.
It is multifold now. Multifold.
Well, I remember years ago, my father said that Tenny Mountain was going to be the new Main Street,
Well,
and people told him he's nuts. But I think of that today now when I go up there and I go, "Whoo, how did he know?" But it was Main Street was building up and building up,
it was
through
only
the
so
years.
far they can go left
Yeah,
and right.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's still something special when I think about the main street. I look at the Common and I'm
Oh, the Common is. Anybody I've brought up here to introduce them to my hometown is like they say it's such a pretty town.
Isn't it?
And the Common and the covered bridge,
You've got it.
all this stuff, that we have. Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah, the covered bridges that we have. We're so fortunate. We have what? We have two, really close to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The Green Bridge is no longer. That's the way I reference it.
right,
But
right.
still, there's a
That's-
bridge there.
Yeah.
There's a bridge there. You have some artifacts that you brought with us today.
Oh.
Time is starting to slow down. for
Okay,
us.
well, this was,
So-
nobody would know it, but across from the skate park was where my dad's garage was, where I used to work. And this was during the flood.
And do you know the year of the flood that we're talking about?
I wished I did.
Approximately.
I wished I did, but I don't. It was a long time ago.
I'm not sure you can see this. Maybe we can see if we can get it enlarged, so you know your dad's store from way
Yeah,
back
it
when.
was sleeper service.
Sleeper service. And when did you work there?
Oh, when I was, I don't know, probably anywhere from 10 years old to 13 or maybe even longer than that.
Okay.
You know,
so you're talking
just-
5-6 decades ago.
Yeah. Oh, God,
5 or
yeah.
6 decades ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got caught in the flood.
Oh, yeah, and more than once.
I was just going to say the same thing.
But this is the only picture I have of that garage.
Do you know, is that Chevron?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
Your eyes better than
This is-
mine? Yeah. Because I can just barely see the sleeper service sign there. I can see that.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think Plymouth was a town that had a great many service stations.
They
should make a
did.
list. I should
They
make a
did
list.
because there was Durgan's. He had
Charlie Durgan.
yeah, Charlie Durgan, and they repaired vehicles also. They had the gas. And then there was Heels,
Absolutely.
and you go, and then was Ranelagh had one,
Wow. Wow.
you know, as
Yours.
across from like the bakery almost.
All right.
And
Texaco, next to Fraser's.
yeah, and there was Ranelagh's had a garage. I think was as you go down over the hill, but I think there was a gas station right up there on Main Street. I know there was.
Texaco was right next to Fraser's.
Yes, that was down there, but this is
Okay.
back up
That's
here.
north, south.
Yeah.
All right.
Anderson's
Yes, ma'am.
Bakery, go across the road, there was that little filling station there. That's where the restaurant is now.
Okay.
And probably more I can't even think of. Well,
We had Richardson's, and then we have the furniture store, and opposite the furniture store, there's still a gas station there today, not by the same owner. These are all the maps that we have to create
yeah.
just for gas stations. Just
Yeah,
for
yeah,
restaurants.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
My husband could probably remember every one of them. He has got a memory like nothing.
I love it. I love it.
Oh.
That's good. One in the family is good.
It is. It is.
Let's see. Can you share one of those things over there with me?
Oh, this?
Yes.
This has been in our family for years, and it's like a small little barrel. It's all wood in there. But my great grandmother Fosey,
Wood slats,
yeah,
this wide.
had done this. I guess they used to do this to, it was whatever they got in it. I don't know, but to use it for something else, they had these old dishes that they'd smash up, because I saw the pile in the back of the house from years ago, and then they glued the little pieces on to fit in just right, so it would make a decorative
It's
whatever.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And I leave it in my living room with I put my sewing stuff in there, so when I want to just do a little quick hand mending or something, I can sit and watch TV, and I got it all right there.
I put a plant inside of it. That's
Yeah.
because I have plants everywhere.
Yep, you could do that
Yeah, I
too.
could do that.
You could do most anything with it.
Well, that's when they call in now. You could call in and tell us what you would do with that object.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but I thought that was, was really something that's been in our family for a long time.
That's neat.
So
I think about the things that people today might throw out that decades, generations ago.
yeah, and
How else could we use it?
yeah, because they used to reuse things a lot. A lot of people didn't have a lot of money, but I just thought that was. I don't know if I'd have thought to do that.
It's lovely. Absolutely lovely. Time is really coming to a close, and I'm trying to think of people that have been in Plymouth, were in Plymouth, are in Plymouth for decades and decades, names that are common to some of us. Who would you come up with? Is there a name or two?
Oh, that are still living?
Either or.
Oh, well,
Because even if they're not here, their family members may still be here or watching our
Yeah.
program today.
one man. Well, there's one man that stands out to me. There's two actually, but one is Charlie Durgan, because he was so good to me when I first started working for the lottery. I had to drive around with pick up these tickets. Well, I had a car that wasn't running, so that's where Mr. Heel came in. He fixed the car for me and let me pay on it. He didn't make me pay right up front because I didn't have any money. I had to wait for a mileage check. So and I was good too. I went in every week and gave him money, and he said, Bonnie, I wish everyone was as good as you. And I thought, well, I told you I would. So, I mean, that's, you give your word, you give your word. And Charlie Durgan, once the car was fixed, he let me charge gas until I got my mileage check so I could go do this job. So those two guys were so good, and I'll never forget how good they were to me.
I think that happened quite a bit. Maybe the store owner would have a list of what you took out here and there.
Yeah.
You'd come in on the day, Friday,
Yeah,
the day
yeah.
of payday, whatever day that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we do that much today.
I don't think they do. And another one that I used to go to was down at Plymouth Furniture years ago when the older people were there. I can't remember their names, but they always let me buy anything I needed on time. And again, I would come in every week and give them the agreed amount of money.
Is that because they knew you, knew your family?
I don't know.
Wow. Or
But-
that's the way it was.
I don't know. But I always made sure, because my father having that garage, a lot of people would say, yeah, we'll be in Friday, we'll be in whatever. And they didn't. And I think that always bothered me to think, how could you do that to somebody?
Mm-hmm.
So I always said, I'm never going to do that to anybody. So I never did.
Good people. You just
Yes.
listed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they could have said no. They could have been burnt before. So no.
I bet they were. But
So
again, you know the people, and you want to say most people are good.
yeah,
Yeah,
they were
if they
good.
can, they will come
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Well, what do we miss today? Think about everything that has happened in Plymouth over time, the people that you have met over time, memories that have stayed with you over time.
I can't really say right now. When I get home, I'll tell you.
Can we call in?
Yeah.
People, can we call in? Yeah, that would be funny. Oh my gosh. It does take us back, so I'm very thankful that you were willing to put up with me.
Oh,
Meet
sure.
With me. Meet
It was
with me.
no. It's just like having a conversation with a friend.
You've got it.
It's,
You've got it.
You know.
If I'm on the list of a friend, that's good.
Yes. Well, you are. You are. If you weren't, I wouldn't be here with you.
People, thank you for joining us today. It is. It continues to be a thrill for me to meet the people in our community, to bring them forward so they can share their stories with you. If you know anyone out there, and we're typically still trying to stay, and it's getting more difficult for me to do, stay with the age range. Whoa, I can't believe I'm saying this. 80s and 90s. We've started to move into the 70s as well too. But give us a call, contact us, go to the Historical Society. They're the ones that have allowed me to do this. And I always want to thank Pemmy Baker. If it wasn't for Pemmy Baker, we would not be sharing these stories to this large group of folks, as you know, trying to do it on a monthly basis. This is the end of our 8th year. I think I have one more to go, and that'll be the end of our 8th year. So we'll be looking forward to the next year, 2025. 2024.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think, I'm just hoping. The weather continues to be like it has been. It's been a remarkable year. And that we have good times around us. When we turn on TV, sometimes I'm not sure I'm as happy as I used to be.
Yeah.
So it's so fun for me to do things like this, and I thank Bonnie for you being here today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
So folks, we'll see you soon in another month or so, but again, if you have other people, yeah, please do. Say goodbye.